Attention shoppers, Nabisco is celebrating 115.
Hey guys, how are you? Good morning. I gotta sneeze. Hang on. Maybe. Yep. Oh, yeah. I'm okay, Lisa. Oh, good morning. You know, things are kind of stressful around here, as they are always when you're in the midst of something like home improvements. So, you know, but I'm okay, you know, but I do, you all know I do have anxiety disorder. So the first place my brain always goes to is the worst case scenario. So it's just, these kind of things are just not fun for me, I have to say. Hey, Christine. Hello. All right. I don't know about you guys, but I'm watching the broadcast on my iPad and the picture quality seems to be going in and out. I'm going to make it go to 720p, and that is much better. Yay. Because our internet feed should be fine. Our upload should be fine today. All right. So we are going to continue this morning working with watercolor materials that are not traditional watercolors. This box here is my box full of crayons. Basically, these are mostly gel crayons. Now this little box on top is Shiva paint sticks, oil paint sticks. So these are not gel crayons. And I keep them in here because I only have a few and they stink. And this is a really tight fitting lid. They do smell really bad because they're oil paint. But we're not going to use those today. This just happens to be where I stick them and store them. The rest of this is gel crayons of different sorts. We've used some of these last week on the last Watercolor Wednesday. Last week. It wasn't last week, was it? It was the week before that. On the last Watercolor Wednesday live, and that actually got a lot of response. I should say a lot of good response, and you guys really enjoyed that. So we're going to continue with that. This week, we're going to use a few of our gel crayons and our pencils, and we may use a little bit of traditional watercolor to create something. I just want to show you guys what you can do if you mix up your water-soluble medias. I did, after the last live broadcast, when y'all told me that there were more distressed crayons out, you know, I had to go get them. And I shouldn't have done that because we have to fix our master bathroom now and gut the master bathroom. So I shouldn't have probably spent the money on these. So Joan can't hear me. Let's see. Can anybody else hear me okay? Okay, good. All right. Joan, maybe refresh, Joan. Well, she can't hear me. Somebody typed to her that she should maybe try refreshing. I don't know. Or checking the sound on her device. All right. So after the last time we broadcasted, y'all told me there were more of the distressed crayon sets. I shouldn't have spent the money because now we have to gut the master bathroom, but I did anyway. And there's not 3 more sets, there's 4. So there. I don't know what we're going to use today, but I'm going to have these available. I've got distressed crayons. I've got the Michaels Recollections watercolor crayons. I've got the Target Up and Up watercolor crayons. I've got the Rose Art gel crayon, Crayola Twistables, Gelatos. These are all gel crayons. Most of them are also water soluble. Not all of them, most of them. So we're going to have these out. I need to move some stuff around. Okay, we're going to put this to the side that way. So I have it. I have my Daniel Smith muted palette in case I decide to use some of them. Oh, hey, Krissa, welcome from all the way from Greece. Fabulous. And Merry Christmas to everybody too. And isn't this the time of year where everybody gets sick? I know so many people who are ill right now. And I'm trying really hard not to get it because I already have breathing issues, and everybody I know has some sort of upper respiratory thing, which is the last thing I need. All right, this fun box that you see are mostly water-soluble pencils. There are a few markers in here of various sorts, but included Maped Helix markers and Tombow markers. Most of the stuff that's in here is water soluble. We're going to kind of be focusing on the pencils today. Now that I pulled this one out, I can't get it back in there. Okay. So I'm going to kind of just turn it this way so the pencils are facing me to the side right there. I think that'll work. Yeah. All right. And we have our 2 journals we worked in last week. 2 weeks ago. Now you will notice with this one, which one is this? Is this the Strathmore? No, this is the Moleskine. This is the Moleskine one. So, and this bugs some people who do watercolor. I don't know that it does me necessarily, but do you see there how the paper, when it dried, it warped and wrinkled and it didn't lay flat? So some of these journals do that. Now this one was already warped and wrinkled. So if it did, you can't tell. This is the handmade paper one. I think it's from Walmart. I do think this one was gifted to me. Now with this one, it's handmade paper. I don't know if it's cotton or paper pulp, but it's definitely handmade paper with a deckled edge all the way around. It was really nice to work on, but it doesn't seem like it's really intended for lots of water soluble media, especially because it did a fair amount of bleeding through to the back. So this is one where you would have to do mixed media on the back or just do single-sided pieces of artwork. I've worked in journals like this before where I did something really water soluble and messy on the front that I knew was going to bleed through to the back. And then when I started the back side, I started with a layer of collage. So you have to kind of figure out how to work around that. Okay, I'm in the other room. And on the Moleskine, there's like some ghosting. Can you tell on there? Does it even show up on camera? Actually, so you definitely could work on both sides. You just need to be aware that you're going to have a ghost image, a little very faint ghost image showing through, and that the paper is going to wrinkle, which doesn't really bother me. So. Okay, let me catch up here. So Me Bear Creations, good morning. Christine, good morning. Eve, Poetry Queen, Joan, Lisa O, everybody, good morning. All right. It's very faint, and it might be because I used that Pilot Varsity disposable fountain pen. That does, it's kind of like a Sharpie, where, Sharpies bleed through just about anything, and that one does too. So it may be that more than anything else. And you really have to kind of look for it. I see it a little bit. I'm not even sure you can pick it up on camera. I see the faint image of the flowers on the other side. It's really not too bad. I've got to move things around here because this is really just not good. This layout's not going to work for me. All right, let's. Oops. Bump the microphone. Okay. That is better. Much, much, much better. Good evening, Victor. It's morning here, but I know it's evening where you are. Okay, I am going to get my Daniel Smith muted palette wet. I do think we're going to want to use it as an accent to what we're doing, but it's not going to be the focal point. That being said, we can't do anything with them if they're not moist and juicy. So I have a dropper bottle here with water in it and a couple of drops of Oxgal liquid, Oxgal, 2 words. Winsor and Newton makes it. I'm sure other brands do. I buy Winsor and Newton. It's easy to find. Oxgal liquid added to your water aids in the re-wetting and flow of your watercolor paints. I started using it when I had some paints that were sent to me by a company that were very difficult to re-wet and once dried in the pans, and it really does make a difference. Okay, there we go. A little short reminder, once you get your watercolors wet like this and you're done painting with them, you want to leave it open and put it up away somewhere to dry before you close it so they don't get moldy. Okay. Yeah, so when I'm traveling, I actually carry one that's about this size when I'm traveling, and you could tape it down, but what I do is I carry little binder clips with me. I have a couple of these mini binder clips in my travel kit, and I use them a lot. And I just clip the corner, and that keeps it down. Now, we had this discussion on Monday. We've had it on social media. If you follow me on social media, we are in the midst of, I'm not sure about glycerin and what it would do to your paints. I would choose not to do that and just use water. And I don't know what Oxgal liquid actually is. I'm sure it's something nasty, probably from animals. I have no idea. But if that's a concern of you and it is an animal product, then I would say to just use plain water. I don't know that I'd put glycerin in the water. I think you'd have to do some research on that because I don't think they would behave the same. Okay, so those of you who don't know, we started out doing some light remodeling around the house. Basically things that we thought to ourselves, whether we stay here forever or we move someday, these things have to be done. Those kind of things. In the midst of that, we discovered a massive leak in the master bathroom shower. The door had been leaking for a while. We were not aware of that. And so now we have to gut the master bathroom, which wasn't really in the budget right now. So I'm a little stressed. So when I'm stressed, I usually draw Buddhas. The Buddhas are my go-to thing when I'm stressed out. So I think we're going to do something like that today. And yes, I am going to zoom in. I don't think it could hurt either, Eve, but I would maybe do an example or not an example, do a sample or do some research before you get all your expensive paints wet. Right. Most of these things can be made from plants or animals, and they just don't even tell you on the labels. And that really does kind of bug me. Not kind of, it does bug me. So we're probably going to do a couple of quick things today, but like I said, my go-to thing when I'm kind of stressed out is just drawing a Buddha face. So we're going to do that, and I am going to start The main focus is going to be the pencils and the crayons, and we're going to probably use a little bit of the paints to do some highlighting and adding color. And hi, the D, hello. Yeah, I assume that oxgall is like from an animal derivative. Otherwise, why would it have that name? All right, let's see. I have a lot of water-soluble pencils here, and I just got some in my art snacks box. Let's start with this one. I want to start with purple. I need my glasses though, because you know I'm stressed out. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, that's better. I do eat dairy and eggs. I don't eat a lot of meat. I do also eat meat. I'm not. Oh, you're not even asking me. I'm like half vegetarian. Can you be a half vegetarian? All right. I frequently make something for the family, and then I make something for me that has no meat in it. Okay, so these are Prima watercolor pencils. This is color number 80, which is a purple color. Piece of paper, hang on. Anybody else's working journal cart ever get so messy that periodically you just have to like dump the whole thing out and start over? Okay, so this is the color number 30. This is how it looks just straight out of the pencil. And my brushes today are the Utrecht generic store brand, which is owned by Dick Blick, number 6150R. It's a number 6 round. And this one is a Royal & Langnickel Zen brush, number 10 Z83SC. It's like a short filbert. Yeah, vegetarians are Italians. You're right. They are. We Italians love we love our vegetables. So look what happens with this Prima brush when you get it wet. Look at that color change. I mean brush, Prima crayon. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so first we're going to start with a sketch, and our sketch, of course, is going to be in our watercolor pencil. So let's, and I think I want it kind of big. I'm not using an inspiration photo or anything. I'm just winging it. Don't ever leave your heads, whether you're drawing Buddha or you're drawing anything else, don't leave your heads floating. Always at least give them a neck. Now, if you aren't comfortable drawing faces or Buddhas or whatever, then I do recommend that you print out one inspiration photo or pull one out of a magazine that's the size that'll fit in your journal, and then use some transfer paper to transfer the basic lines onto your paper. All of my Buddhas and most of my girls end up full-faced, full-lipped. Somebody in a recent broadcast said they have kind of an African vibe, and they do. And I don't deny that. They do. Yeah, I don't need anything with eyeballs. Like, to already be like fixed because that creeps me out too. And I'm a semi meat eater, so. All right. So now we're gonna use our Zen brush to activate all or some of our pencil and just pull the pigment in to the areas where we want it to go. Just like with regular watercolor, whether you're using a pencil or a crayon, you want to put the water where you want the pigment to go, and it's going to take the easy road always. So like don't put water out here if that's not where you want the purple pencil to go. And like with the flowers last week, when you're playing and experimenting with these different mediums and seeing what they do and creating art, it doesn't have to be complicated, and just have fun and play. And if somebody says, well, you shouldn't really mix pencils with watercolor paint, that's me trying to keep it clean. And you all know me. I don't even necessarily try to like hide all the pencil lines and things. I think they add something interesting to the piece of artwork. So that's just one layer. Now these watercolor pencils, unless they're ink tints, which is a whole different ball game, they will move each time you put wet medium on top of them. They're going to move less if you dry it first. So if you don't want it to move too much, dry it first. Now, Inktense pencils are a whole different ball of wax. They are ink. They're not like a watercolor material. So once they're dry, after you get them wet, they're not going to move. They're going to stay. Hey, Muriel. Oh, thanks. Yeah, so you can just do this and you can call it finished. We're not going to do that. We're going to take it a little further. So I've got a purple gelato. And this is dark purple. What color is this? Grape. Oh, yeah, it's grape. So I'm going to switch to the round brush. And I'm going to just get the tip of the gelato wet with my brush. And this is the color that you're going to get. This sort of gray purple. Now you can also do it this way and then get it wet. Dark purple. You also can do this with it, which I might do. And you can put some on a palette plate. This is just a porcelain plate from the Dollar Tree. And you can create a paint. Look at that. So you can carry a bunch of these in your travel art kit with your, other stuff, instead of carrying a palette of watercolor paints, but you actually have something you can watercolor with by using these. So I'm not going to go too far before I'm going to come back with some water. Decide where the sun is coming from and put your shadows on the other side. So if the sun is coming this way, this side would be darker. Most of the time when I started painting Buddhas, and I still do it occasionally, I started from painting from photos, inspiration photos of Buddha statues, rather than someone in a Buddha pose. So again, we're just using, this is gelato, Faber-Castell gelato. You can also get their lesser expensive kids gel sticks, which are more affordable. I don't think they come in as many colors, but they're more affordable. So you could have stopped with the one color, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you can also just keep going and adding more pop to your picture. Oops. Try not to do that. One of the things that made me so stressed out last week with the home improvements wasn't finding out that we have a massive problem in the master bathroom. Of course, that's not never great news, but it was that I didn't get to do art. Art is really my way of staying calm, keeping my anxiety under control, and nothing emphasized that more to me than last week. So see that somebody said to stop, but look at that. I like that. So that's just 2 materials. Hey, Gail. I do still work from photos occasionally, Victor, not always. Victor asked, do you not need any photos? You always obtained masterpieces. I don't always work from photos anymore. I do sometimes when I'm wanting to try a new face position, and I don't feel like I'm going to do justice to the light and shadows, or I'm not sure about where they should be, then I work from a inspiration photo, usually like something out of a fashion magazine. There's really no way to get good at drawing our faces except try. There's no shortcut. When I first got hurt at my old job, I decided to devote more time to what I was already experimenting with, which was mixed media. I didn't really have anything else to do. I was unable to go back to my old job. So I spent a lot of time learning to paint faces and practicing my drawing every day. Now, that being said, lately I haven't been bad about it because there's too much going on, but there's no shortcut. Gelatos are a lot of fun. Yeah, and I couldn't, so there's no easy way to get better at it other than to practice. Really great source of photos for light and shadow, fashion magazines. You know, if you have them, use those. Also, you know, Pinterest. I mean, the internet is fabulous. Y'all have internet access, so you wouldn't be here. This is the Prima watercolor pencil. Oops, this is color number 80. So you could totally leave that at that, and there would be nothing wrong with that. It's a cute painting. I am going to take some of this gelato on the palette and just splatter a little bit on the page. I love the Prima watercolor pencils. They may not be light fast, but they're fabulous. Neither one of these may be light fast, but you know what I always tell you guys, scan it. If you create something that you really love, like this is really cute, and I actually could see selling this in the Etsy shop as a digital download. This is really cute. Scan it, scan it, scan it, scan it. She's really cute, and I'm really not wanting to do anything else to her, so we may have to start a new one because we've only been painting for a few minutes. Because I really like the way she's looking. She's kind of watercolory. Maybe she does need a little bit of a pop though. Let's see. Hi, Tatiana. So in the muted palette, I have this color naphthalimide something maroon. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's this color here. So I'm thinking about using that, but see, then I do that and I'm like, I don't think that's the right color. So then let's do a little swatch of the ultramarine turquoise. Nope. See, I'm kind of liking where she's going right now, and I'm kind of wondering if we should just leave her alone. Blue. Maybe a little bit of the blue. I know, right? Well, I have more paper. So she's pretty wet. So putting a little bit of this pigment on here, it's going to blend into the other colors, the purples. I have just a little bit of pigment on my brush, not too much. I'm barely touching it to the paper. And you can see how I'm not even picking up any more pigment. And this dark blue color is really, it's giving her a pop. There we go. I love that. Now we're really going to leave her alone because now she's really cute. So as I say that, you see me going back in over here. She's cute though. All right. Yeah, see, doing art helps me not get stressed. So there's our first one. How cute is she? So your watercolors don't have to be super complicated and crazy. And you also don't have to do, your faces, whether it's Buddha or anything else, in realistic colors. Like, seriously, just think about playing, these are all cool colors, but shades of cool. So within your purple and blue range, you have the colors that are more pink. They're going to be warmer than the ones that are more blue, like the Prussian blue, that are going to be cooler. And you can create an interesting face or other composition with light and shadow within a specific single range of colors. So think about doing that. It's really fun. I'm going to set this somewhere. I don't know where. Let's put this over here. All right, let's go back to that other journal. This is the other one. So in this one, I'm really going to just do single-sided compositions because of the nature of the paper. So let's put these away. I don't think, okay, going back a little bit. Hello, Della. Good morning. And Mibear Creations is asking, is Buddha gender specific? Just asking. I don't think so. I think generally speaking, Buddha is gender neutral. Although when I draw a Buddha face, it tends to come out on the feminine side. Most of the time. Not all of the time, but most of the time. And Gail, you must be talking about the Faber-Castell gel sticks. They do come in a bright red box. Yeah, okay, so, and then you're also asking about the Prima pencil. I don't know because I took all of my pencils apart. And I don't know. But this is color number 80 and it's a dark purple. So, and I do know when you look at the listings for the Prima pencils, it does tell you, like on the Prima website, which color, which number pencils are in which box, or it should. I can do a warm toned one with shades of a warm color. Maybe we'll do greens. Actually, that sounds really interesting. So let's start with greens, and this time let's pick a gelato. Oh, yeah, Inktense pencil. So these little cards, by the way, I cut them up and use them in other projects. I use them as tags and tip them in. I do little doodles and stuff over the top of them. So I don't throw these little swatch things away. And like with the other Buddha face, I think we're going to start with a medium tone. I just have to pick the color of pencil I want. So maybe this one. This is Inktense. This is a spring green. Let's see what color this is after. That's what it looks like before. Ooh, that's a pretty color. Now, because this is a yellowy green, it's very much on the warmer side. Now, going back a couple of questions, Kathy doesn't find much difference between the gelatos and the cheaper gel sticks. I didn't either. Like I said, I don't think either one of them is probably light fast. But that being said, I don't know that concerns me too much, because if I create something like the girl that we just did, then I would just scan her. So this is going to be completely different, not only in color, but this is completely different paper. So let's see what happens. And we're not using any regular pencil or regular pen. We're just using all water soluble materials, and we're, maybe using the Daniel Smith muted palette to accent what we're drawing. I'm using a really light hand with the Inktense pencil. I know I'm not talking while I'm sketching her, sorry. And I'm not looking at the chat either. Now, Buddha statues always have really strong, prominent eyebrows, a prominent line or shadow down the side of one side of the nose. They always have the chakra dot. I think that's what it's called, in the middle of their forehead. Usually fairly large earlobes. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to go to the Zen brush and activate that green. Now, I saw Tatiana said something about red oxide. You could use red in this Buddha as your highlight color. Red and green go well together, of course. As we all know, it's Christmas time. Maybe we'll do that. You're giving me all some ideas. Maybe we'll do a Christmas Buddha. It's kind of funny if you think about it, Christmas Buddha. Two different religions put together. I think the Supreme Being is probably smiling at that. Okay, so I'm getting the pencil wet. I'm pulling the pigment from the pencil in where I want it to go. I'm not putting water where I am not comfortable with it spreading and blending. I usually just hint at something for the hair or headdress. I usually don't do a ton because I want it to be sort of a serene and simple painting. Yeah, so just make a note about the gel sticks and Me Bear Creations. And then if you get like Christmas gift cards or something, then do that with them. If you don't have anybody to get gifts for or to get gifts for you, buy yourself some gel sticks for Christmas. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, let's see. I do think I have a red oxide in the Inktense pencils. Let me see if I can find it. Somebody said something about red oxide in particular. I have poppy red. Poppy red is a really pretty color. Maybe I don't. Maybe I lied. I didn't lie intentionally. I'm sorry. So this again is another Inktense pencil. Look at that red. How pretty is that when it gets wet? So I'm going to use a really super light touch on the pencil because when I get it wet, I really want it to almost disappear or completely disappear on the face. And I'm going to show you guys a couple other things. Now you want to be careful about blending this too much with the green because you will probably get some shades of brown. Red and green mixed together make some pretty neutrals, but that may not be what you want. And I frequently, even with regular color pencils, I frequently do this with them and use them sideways. Now this paper is very, very textured. So we're getting some interesting texturing going on or granulation with the paint, which I'm not really, I'm okay with. I'm not having a big problem with. On this one, we're going to take it a little bit further, which I intended to do with the other one, but she was just so cute the way she was. So, okay. So those are just two Inktense pencils, nothing else. I'm going to dry it a bit. The gel crayons, the gelatos are by Faber-Castell. The Inktense pencils are by Derwent. This paper is a lot more fiddly to paint on, FYI. All right, so now we're going to go back to our gel crayon box. And let's see. I'm going to grab Spearmint. This is a Faber-Castell. This is a gel crayon. This I don't think is water soluble, but we're going to give it a shot. It's by Rose Art. It's just a kid's thing. So just like with painting, with other kinds of paint, you know, it's about layers of marks, right? And creating interest. So I don't want to go too far with that because that might be too much pigment already before I come back with the water. And these are all fairly transparent mediums, so you're going to be able to see your marks from your other paint colors underneath, which is one of the things I just love about water-soluble media. You can really build up some interesting marks and colors. This paper is not, it's okay to work with, but this paper is probably better suited to mixed media applications or just sketching than it is doing lots of water soluble things on, just FYI. I'm just going over it with a very light touch with the gelato. Nothing too heavy-handed. Okay, and this is the green gel crayon. Let's test this one because I don't remember if it's water soluble or not, and it may not be. Oh yeah, it is. Never mind. I lied. Yeah. So I do a lot of Buddhas. Like I said earlier, it is my go-to thing when I'm stressed out. And I'm not sure what else to create. I create Buddha faces. That's just my thing. I turn my music up loud, and I just start painting Buddha faces. They're relaxing and soothing to me. And I enjoy doing these broadcasts with the Buddhas because it is so fun to force myself to do Buddhas in other color tones than what I would normally do for you guys because we're playing and experimenting. So I think that's a lot of fun. And it could be flowers. Maybe your thing is just painting flowers and that's your go-to thing. That's cool. Do that. So this is a Rose Art gel crayon. It's not expensive. This is in the kids art supplies aisle of a lot of different stores. It's a fun tool to add to your mixed media supplies. How cute is that? I'm going to put some of this gel crayon on my plate and see if we can do splattering with this bright green. I don't know if we can or not. I've actually never tried this with the Rose Art crayons. Oh yeah, we can. I don't think you're going to be able to see it on camera. But it's faint, but it's there. Okay, now this is really kind of a neon color. So if you're going to scan this, it's probably not going to show up very well. You're going to want to photograph it instead. Okay, I'm going to take some undersea green, which is very muted color. It's from the Daniel Smith muted palette. It's a green, but it's a very gray green. I'm not going to go too far again before I come back with some water. I like the puddly effect. I don't like to do perfect blending. That being said, I do want to blend a little bit. And this dark, more neutral color of green, look how it's making those other colors pop out. I'll catch up on the chat in just a second. Make sure I stick my brush in the right half pan in the palette. Hey, Mary. Good morning. Have a good day, Kathy. And Tweety Bird. Who doesn't love Tweety Bird? When I was a kid, my go-to thing was Snoopy. Because, you know, who doesn't love to draw Snoopy? So I'm still trying to get it so that the looks like the sun is coming kind of like this way. Sometimes when I'm painting, I have to stick a sticky note on my composition and remind myself where the sun is, because I just start painting and I lose track of where the shadow should go. So if you're somebody like me who does that, you're not alone by any stretch of the imagination. I do the same thing. So whatever you do to the face, don't forget to like do stuff to the hair or headdress or whatever your serenely posed face has going on, whether you call it a Buddha or it's just a serene image, a meditative pose. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Daniel Smiths are not cheap, but they're very well worth it. They're a really great quality of paint. Oh, thank you. Me Bear Creations. Thank you very much. And I love Snoopy. Snoopy was always my thing. Gail said that Daniel Smith's on Amazon went up in price, by the way, because I had comments about not reading the questions on camera for those watching the recording. And yeah, they did recently. I generally get them directly from Daniel Smith and not from Amazon. So go to the Daniel Smith website and see what they have going on over there for Christmas. They may have some sort of special like free shipping or something. I would recommend going there. If you're in the Seattle area, stop at the Daniel Smith factory because they have a store there and it's fabulous. And the employees are wonderfully helpful. I haven't heard about pigment formula changes. I know that happens with a lot of the paint companies periodically when they can no longer get the pigments or minerals or whatever it is that they're making that particular color from. So that's not unheard of for a paint company to do. That being said, I have a lot of old tubes, but I would definitely, you know, look into it and see before you buy a certain color, make sure it's still light fast. You can get, again, their sample dot chart. And, you know, if they've changed their pigment formulas, they've probably updated the sample dot chart. And so you could get the new one and see what it looks like. It maybe like the, you know, golden thing where they had to change their teal paint. And it's not quite the same. It's nice, but it's not quite the same. Hi, Karen. I didn't see your question about the gelatos and the gel crayons not blending right. So why don't you post it again and I'll read it and we'll see. Yeah, I would grab the old stock of quinacridone gold and the other colors while you can, if that's the case. Maybe somebody can post a list of the ones that are running out. I have found, though, that if it's like the Golden's debacle with the teal paint, when they stopped making their I think it was cobalt teal because they couldn't get the pigment anymore, that the new color wasn't exactly the same, but I was okay with it. And as long as the new Quin Gold is close and it's light fast, I'm probably going to be okay with it. That being said, maybe another manufacturer has a Quin Gold. If you want the single pigment, maybe Winsor Newton, which is also a good brand. No, I want you to try. Cody's asking, I hope you don't mind me trying a Buddha. Try one. I would love to see it posted in the Facebook group. And if somebody can post the Daniel Smith colors or mixed pigments that are going out and are changing, if somebody can post the color names in my Facebook group for everybody, that would be helpful. And, you know, if you're concerned about it, call Daniel Smith, call their factory. They do have an 800 number for their ordering department and see if they still have the old stock in. And if they do, if you can order one. I'm not a fan of Winsor Newton's okay, but I prefer Daniel Smith. And if you have one tube of the Quin Gold, it's probably going to last you a long time unless you really do a lot of watercoloring. So Karen says, I have the Faber-Castell gelatos and the Ranger crayons watercolor. I can't get them to work. There are marks on the tooth of the watercolor paper and don't seem to blend. So I'm not one to mind the marks left on the paper. Generally speaking, that doesn't bother me. But let's do a test. Let me finish this one first. I love splattering. And I also am going to take that, remember that color, that maroon I had on here? So there's nothing wrong with leaving your paintings light and sort of pastel-like. But if you add some of these darker colors and darker pops, it really brings something interesting to your painting. And when you're working in a journal like this, nobody ever has to see it if you screw it up. But I definitely would recommend giving it a shot and trying it. Now remember, there's nothing wrong with lifting. If you get too much pigment, get your rag or paper towel in there really quick and lift some of that pigment off. This is that maroon that I can't pronounce the name. This is a Daniel Smith color. Yeah, see though, so that's what I mean. So this maroon just makes the whole painting pop. So if you're working on a composition and you're like, I like it, but it doesn't have a pop. You need to add either a really dark, like contrasting color, or you need to add a pop of maybe a fluorescent color. And this is sort of a brown maroon. It's not a really red color. There we go. I had a little bit too much there. My brush isn't clean, so that's not helping. So you can do that, and that really just makes it pop out off the page. And you can do these faces are really fun to do over a sheet of paper that you've journaled on or over collage. But if you're going to watercolor over that or do water soluble mediums over like collage or acrylic paint or journaling, I would recommend making sure that you coat the page with a clear watercolor ground or clear gesso first before you get started. Oh, here's a close-up. Okay. All right, let's get a little test piece of paper out again. Okay. Okay, wait, I'm going to go back because I missed some things. We have family in, I want to say Wisconsin, where they were last night. It was 1 degree last night. 1. Let's see. Yeah, so I would recommend Gail calling Daniel Smith and asking them about some of their colors going from single pigment to, triple pigment to get the color right. And, usually it's a supply thing and they can't get the same pigments they were using before. I like, there really isn't a watercolor paint, too many of them that I have met that I don't like. That being said, I'm not a huge fan of Holbein. I find them difficult to re-wet. Lucas are fine. I love Mayberry Blue, which is a French brand. And I also love Zecchi, which is an Italian brand. You might try both of those. If you need the website addresses, I can post them into my Facebook group later. Van Gogh is a decent student grade paint. Schminky or Schminka, you might try Schminka. And Germany, I love Germany. Such a pretty country. Oh, I'm sorry, Christine. I actually have to go get my cousin's daughter in a little while. I'm playing taxi cab today. I haven't done that in a long time. My daughter's in college, so it'll be interesting. I like the Quar colors. They're beautifully bright and they're nice quality, like everything golden does. They're fabulous. So I really am a fan of them, and you may find that that Quin Gold, for instance, that you like better. Thank you about thinking the Buddha is pretty. Yeah, so it's been cold for people. So if somebody can post a link to an article or something about the Daniel Smith paints and which colors are going out and which aren't, please let me know which pigments are changing. Please do that for me. I am a big fan of Daniel Smith, and things have been crazy around here lately, so I haven't had a chance. So we're looking at the Ranger crayons and the gelatos. So this is Zentangle paper. This is not watercolor paper. This is got a little bit of a texture to it, but not much. It's super, super smooth paper. So when you take a, say, gelato to it, you can see that it has a little bit of a texture when you just do that. And let's try a Daniel Smith crayon. I mean, holy cow, Ranger crayon. So these are the Ranger Distress crayons. And they go on this paper a lot smoother than the gelato does, and they color smoother than the gelato does. And you can see they really fill in more of the holes, and this paper is pretty smooth. But I have found that for the most part, with most of these mediums, when you do it this way and you color it on the paper and then you go back with the water, you never really lose all of those scratchy lines from the crayon. And if that really bugs you, then this is not the way to use them. You probably want to do something more like this, where you take the crayon and you get it wet with a paintbrush, and then you paint it on the paper. Now, that being said, you're going to get a lot lighter color, as you can see. You can also get your paper wet and then color on it, and that will help disperse the pigment, but not completely. You also can dip your crayon in the water and then color on there, but again, you still get those scratchy lines. So it has more to do with the medium and the way it's made than it does the paper or anything that you might be doing, thinking you're doing wrong. Inktense pencils are fabulous. Now, generally, these are like craft quality like items. If you go with, say, an Inktense pencil, do I have one? I know I have one in teal somewhere. We should find one that's kind of, this one says beach green. So this is an Inktense pencil. And again, as you can see, it goes on kind of scratchy. You can see this, although this is smooth paper, you can see the surface. And this is a Prima pencil. This is the Prima watercolor pencil. This is number 52. So these are all kind of shades of green, blue-green. And you can see that, like the gelato and the distress crayon, you can see the little bit of texture that's on this paper. You can see it. You can see it through the pencil, right? Where the pencil can't quite get in all those grooves and nicks and crannies. And then when you get it wet. Now, the one that I've found that blends the best, and really you lose almost all of the marks from the pencil, is the Prima, and they're not expensive. So there's the Prima and there's the Inktense. The Inktense is a lot more vibrant and is permanent after it's dry. Yeah, so Cody says she colors on a plate and then picks up the pigment that way. You can totally do that. And I usually carry in my travel kit a flat piece of like white plastic or something that I can do that with even when I'm traveling. But at home, I just have these white porcelain plates from the Dollar Tree. Thank you so much, Gail, for telling me that the Buddha is pretty. Yeah, I don't have Jerry's Artorama here, Mary. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I have to just order stuff because everything is too far away. We have one art supply store in town. It's easier to mix the colors if you do it on a plate, even if you're using gelatos or distressed crayons. Inktense blocks work great. They dissolve nicely. I just think the case they come in is very fiddly. Well, my screen froze too, so I don't know. Let's see, I'm going to come back. I had to refresh right with you guys. Yeah, I have Hobby Lobby. They don't have lots of like watercolor paint and mediums. That being said, I have to go there and pick up some stuff, but I like Hobby Lobby. It's really the only craft store I can go to this time of year because of all of the potpourri and the cinnamon pine cones and that stuff. So yeah, so Tombos you can do on a plate. Any of your watercolor, or I should say water soluble mediums, whether it's a pen or a crayon, with the exception, of course, of the pencils, you can put them on a plate and mix them that way. So when you're putting together, say, a travel art kit, or if maybe you have just a really small studio space and you want to have things you can watercolor with, one of the reasons for doing this series is to show you that you can do watercoloring without watercolor paints, especially if you're just practicing and playing and you're not really caring about light fastness and all of that stuff. So you can have, say, some Tombow markers or some gel crayons and use them as they are, but also use them with water. I found with referencing Gail's statement that we have a Jerry's in Kansas City somewhere, but it's easier to order them. I found that generally speaking, in the stores that I've been to, such as Dick Blick, that have an online store as well, the online store usually has a way better selection than the physical store. So, because they just can't carry everything. So it's just easier to go to the website and order for me. So yeah, so you can do that with your pencils, dipping them in water first and then coloring on the plate. It's a little bit more challenging, but you can definitely do it, especially if you have pencils that are really well pigmented, like the Inktense or the Prima pencils. That being said, you don't have to have those. I also have Crayola. These are just Crayola pencils. These are nothing expensive. This is a Crayola watercolor pencil. Now, of course, it's a kid's pencil. It's not going to be pigmented like the other ones. And these are like the neons, but there's nothing wrong with them. It's very light in color, and I have the neon pencils. I've got, I think there's rose art in here somewhere. I just got in my Art Snacks box these Carnage Discovery set, and there's only 5 colors in it in a blender, but they're water soluble. They're great too. So you don't have to spend a ton. Go get Rose Art watercolor pencils if that's all you can afford. Yeah, so Della, I just sent a couple of giveaways to Canada, and yeah, shipping's expensive. I usually wait. Granted, I live in the US, but what I would do is wait until they have some sort of shipping discount, like international. They may not do free shipping. Maybe they'll do free shipping in the US, but maybe internationally they'll have a discount. And I would wait and do that and like save up my list. I didn't see the question about the Turner watercolor, Gail. So please, somebody ask it again. I don't know that I've ever tried Turner watercolor. There are a million brands out there, but I've heard good things about them, if that was the question. I started watercoloring. I was more concerned about getting the color that I wanted than if it was artist quality. So what I would tell you is to look for the colors that you want to paint with. I still like Van Gogh, which is a student grade paint. Even their artist quality one is kind of more of a good student grade, in my opinion. But they're decent colors. They're not super transparent, I don't think, but they're decent colors, and you can get them at Hobby Lobby. I also like Koi, which is definitely a student grade paint. I have a Koi kit, and I love that one. So you don't have to go spend tons of money. And I've never been one to be super crazy about caring whether a color that I want to use is a pure pigment or not. As I just want it to be the color that I want. So, you know, as far as Daniel Smith is concerned, unless they're drastically changing the formula, say on the quinacridone gold, as long as it's that color, I'm going to be happy. And not everybody's like that. And if you guys are more concerned about pure pigment, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not my focus. That's a good deal for watercolor paints, and Turner's a decent brand. $19.95, that's nice. And 18 colors, a good selection. So I would say probably, Gail, you want to share that link for that in the Facebook group if that set is still available. This is really the time to stock up on for yourself on some of those supplies that you wouldn't really buy for yourself at other times because of price or something else. Because right now, places like Amazon are putting them on sale for Christmas. Dick Blick they always have like free shipping and stuff at Christmas. A lot of the art websites do. So this is a good time to stock up for a few. So don't go crazy, but get a few things for yourself that you wouldn't maybe normally. Sorry, Ian. At least you were a good husband and you took her to work. That's so nice. So I like Me Bear Creations. I like Van Gogh watercolors. I still have a Van Gogh set, and I have a lot of Van Gogh tubes. In fact, I take that back. I have 2 Van Gogh sets. So I like Van Gogh watercolors. I think they're nice paints. I'm being asked, what are Art Snacks? Art Snacks is a monthly subscription box, and you'll get a small box like this. And inside of each box, they will have a few full-size, generally pieces of different art supplies. And every month it's a little bit different. This month we got some pens and pencils. And there's a video that went up today on my channel where I talk about what came in the Art Snacks box. You got artsnacks.com, so is the website. See you later, Muriel. Have a good day. All righty. Is there any other questions? So whatever you have or you're acquiring for Christmas in the way of water-soluble materials that are not watercolor paints, I would suggest getting some little pieces of card, different kinds of card that you have in your stash of stuff, trying them and making little swatch samples like this, maybe labeling them so you remember which one reacted which way with water and which didn't. And make yourself some cards and experiment with what they will do. You may have things in your stash, like pens especially, that you don't know are water soluble, because honestly, we haven't looked, like Tombow markers. And so then color with them and see what they'll do. This is actually, I think, a blender pen, so this is not going to work. But so color with them and try them and see what they'll do. And then experiment with matching them up with your watercolor paints. We're going to be doing a couple more episodes of this where we're playing with different water soluble materials, either on their own or with watercolor paint, to see what they'll do. Yeah, so I have a small Sennelier pocket set, and it wasn't expensive. And right now they're a lot of these things are on sale. Yeah, the blue and green card. This is a cool one, right? So these, like I said in the when I did these, I save these and I turn them into tags, or I stick them do doodles on top of them. Some of these crayons are very waxy, so you have to really be careful about what you doodle on top of them with, like the gelato. But the pencils are great for doodling on top of. Just FYI. If I had one with gelato on it, I would and I was going to doodle, I would probably activate all of it and then doodle. Sennelier is a great brand. There's nothing wrong with them. That being said, I think the binder is honey. So I think if you get the tubes, they kind of stay sticky. So that I'm not really okay with. But the pans are fine. I like the pans. That's a good artist grade paint. So, and there's nothing wrong with having a mixed palette. You don't have to be brand dedicated. One of my favorite palettes is a mixed palette. It's got Daniel Smith, Winsor Newton, Van Gogh, Sennelier, and a couple other brands in it, and it's a fabulous palette. Gail, here you'll have to type out the name of the link. You can't actually leave a link, or you'll have to go over to the Facebook group and post to the link there. Unless you're an admin, you can't actually post the link. It won't show up as a link. You have to just type the name. I would say post it over in the Facebook group. And those of you that aren't members of my Facebook group and don't know about it, the link should be in the description here of the live broadcast. My picture's not frozen. Anyway, the link to the Facebook group is in the description below the live broadcast screen. And our year-long journaling program actually starts Saturday. So those of you who aren't, and it's Facebook only. So if you're not a member of my Facebook group or one of the other 3 sister groups, you should go join today. Lisa is one of our teachers. So is Ian. And I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments where we're talking about how expensive shipping is. So if you're not a member of my Facebook group or one of the other 3 Facebook groups, go over to follow the link in my description and go join my group, and we'll give you links to the other groups. Ian's a teacher, Lisa Swank is a teacher, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It starts Saturday. If you have any questions, let me know. And if anybody has the link for the Daniel Smith paints that are changing, let me know. And Gail, post the link to the set that you bought over in the Facebook group. Please think about liking, sharing, and subscribing, and if you're not already, and supporting my channel by shopping in my Etsy shop, or you can go to the YouTube channel's main page and hit the fan funding button. And the most important thing, besides getting arty and having fun and playing and experimenting, there's one more thing you have to do. Y'all should know what it is by now by heart. Go out and have a great day. Do something nice for yourself because you deserve it, and I'll see you later. All right, I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day, and you're welcome. All right. Bye, guys.